In this video, I'll show you how to promote all content from one environment to another. This process will be used when there's a need to move all objects, so all your documents, all your universes, all your users, all your groups, everything from one CMS to another. There's a different process if you have a need to select individual content. This is for a full promotion. Maybe you're moving to a cloud server. You want to move all your content from one to another. You've set up a second environment, you want to replicate one environment, maybe you're upgrading for 4.1 to 4.2 or another version, maybe you've got new servers and you're moving all your content from one environment to another. So whatever the case may be, this is the steps you follow if you want to move all of your content. Okay, so first you want to log into your source environment. Okay, so I'm logged into my source. Now I'm going to log into my target. So in the top left, I select log on and log into my second environment. Okay, so now I'm logged into both environments, so demo and training. I'm going to move all my content from demo to my training environment. Select tasks and then Bob J promotion tasks. Click on new task. Give your task a title. Okay, so in my source, so I'm promoting CMS to CMS. If you have a need to do buyer files, you can, but this is going to be an example of just CMS to CMS. This is what's most likely used. The drop down will show my two environments, so I'm going to select demo as my source, and the destination will be CMS, and select training. So now I've got my source and target. Select next. So the frequency, I'm going to run this once. I'm going to run in the evening when users are off the system. So I'm just going to say once and give it a later. I'm going to run this tonight at a later time. Okay. Okay, now click next. And in this case, I'm going to do a full promotion. So click next. And then what do you want to promote? So if you're doing a full promotion, you want to move all your content, all your security, all your groups, I would select all of the content. If there's something you don't want, maybe you've decided not to move inboxes, then you can uncheck that. But typically, if you're setting up a new environment and you want to move all your content, you'll be checking everything. So you won't check anything here. So access levels, I always include security. Include security and connections. Include security. So this overwrite by name option you'll see in all of these. That is once you have content there, if they have different CUIDs and you want to overwrite by name, you can select that. I would only check that if you have a need to do that, if there's a specific need. Otherwise, especially for this first run, it's not necessary because right now in this example there's nothing in my target environment. Okay, so I'm going to include security for personal folders if you want their documents. You check that as well. And then I can also include instances if I want their instances. Maybe I only want the recurring instances. Okay. And then public documents, I'll get the same option. Do I want the instances? I can choose all of them or recurring. I'm going to just pick recurring. Quaz, if you have those. Okay, and then include UNV, include UNX, and then you'll see these options include security. This would be after you've moved the content, so we don't need to check that now because this is the first run. So include universe restrictions. So if you have any restrictions, we recommend selecting promote restrictions and security because you want that security applied to the correct restrictions. And then for UNX, same thing, include security and universe restrictions. And I recommend selecting promote restrictions and security. Again, these are suggestions. This is, every environment is different, but this is typically what is selected. So the users, I'm going to include security, I'm going to include their inboxes. If you want to include their inbox documents, security, okay, and the groups. Okay, so now I have everything. So now I have everything selected. I'm going to click next. Notifications, so I can set up a notification. It'll notify me when the job completes. I can write a file to a file system, or I can be emailed. I can have multiple people emailed. Just separate the addresses with a comma. Okay, give it a subject. Okay, and then my status, I can give it a title. Make sure you put something in the message. Click add. I'm going to get an email whether it's successful, error, or warning. Okay, update. And the last one is warning. Okay, and click add. And then I've got my 3 task statuses, and click add again, and then click next. I don't have any trigger events, so I'm going to skip that. Click next, confirmation, click add. Okay, so this is scheduled at a later time, so this will show up in pending. Once it reaches this time, it'll show up in the running tab while it's running, and then it'll eventually show up in the finish tab when it's finished. If I click on finished, after it's done, you can display log or display log warning and error. So I see the log of the promotion task. You can also, while it's running, you'd be able to see the promotion task as well. In the top right, it says stop scheduler. So if yours says start scheduler, make sure you click that, so that will kick off the scheduler. Otherwise, the task will stay in pending. But other than that, it will be kicked off when it's scheduled. All the content will be removed in the appropriate order so that everything gets applied correctly. So when your access levels and groups get moved first, so that when your folders get created and universes, the proper security is applied to them.